Do you want me to introduce myself first? My name is Rodrigo Mateus. I'm the sales team leader at Formas Publicitarias, specifically for the Formas shop team. I implemented Darwin about a year ago. Well, we've always been a company with a very conversational sales process, one that requires a lot of attention from our salespeople when dealing with clients. And as we started to grow and get new clients and new leads, we began to experience a noticeable bottleneck with our salespeople. And that's when we faced a decision: either hire more skilled salespeople or perhaps opt for an artificial intelligence tool that could do the job just as well or, even better. Another challenge we wanted to solve was getting important information to the client instantly. We have over 7,000 different products between SKUs and variations, and the assistant has instant access to all of it right away, to all the descriptions, the photos. So anything that users or potential clients asked for, they got it instantly. With a salesperson, on the other hand, you have a response time. And of course, all the services we offer, logistics, payment methods, and so on. With those two, as soon as someone asks a question, they get an answer. And in my line of work, that's extremely valuable, getting a quick response in general. Usually this would take quite a while, but now it's instant, and that creates a much better relationship with the client. Today, we use Darwin as basically a salesperson that categorizes clients as they come in and routes them. It either sends them to a more transactional platform that we have, or to qualified salespeople who handle our large accounts. This took a ton of pressure off our salespeople, who were getting a lot of sales or potential sales that were maybe smaller, or that took up a lot of their time and ultimately didn't help us reach our objectives. So now we have that divided. Our salespeople focus specifically on the leads that Darwin qualifies and sends over, along with all the details of the conversation. And with that, our salespeople can close many more sales than before. Because before, where they might have closed 2 or 3 sales, now they're closing 10 or 15. That's because the client is much more warmed up, or if you will, much more qualified. We've always been driven to innovate, to be the first to implement new technologies, and to grow in our industry. So, integrating an artificial intelligence tool was always an idea I had since we started. And honestly, with Darwin, all my wishes came true. I've been using an artificial intelligence tool for a long time now. It's put me a bit ahead of the market and even my peers who handle the same products and maybe offer the same services, but they don't have that instant response that a tool like Darwin can provide. And that gives us a pretty significant competitive advantage. And not to mention, I can't imagine today, not having Darwin and having to handle all the leads that come in every day, thousands and thousands of leads. I wouldn't know how to do it. I'd have to hire 2 or 3 people at least and have to create a whole new procedure, when now I can solve it with just one tool. The implementation took about 2 weeks. We started with an initial meeting where I gave Darwin some context, explaining the company, providing some examples of conversations, other products, access to the website, and our API. After about a week of careful configuration work on Darwin's end, they finally gave me a test model to use. I would run a series of tests, and every so often, if there was a response that I didn't particularly like, or maybe wasn't completely sure about, I'd give instant feedback. I'd tell it everything I thought it needed to do better, what to change, improve, or remove. And after a week of that testing, I had a version that I'd approve to implement in production and start testing with real leads. During that week of giving feedback on my end, while testing the tool, the whole process was quite similar to giving feedback to a junior sales employee, if you will. I'd tell it what I liked, what I didn't like, and I got an instant response and resolution on the spot, which is always a plus, right? The truth is, with Darwin, we saw an opportunity for our business, which is very conversational. It's a space where chatbots perhaps fall a bit short in the number of answers they can provide and the context they can handle. And clients in general are a bit reluctant to talk with chatbots because they usually can't resolve queries that are a little more complex and require a bit of explanation. And in our case, Darwin solved that for us, because when customers ask how to apply a logo about minimum quantities, or if something can be done with a certain variation, Honestly, that's almost impossible to configure in a chatbot. It would require many hours that I now save, because by just telling Darwin what we do and say, it learns right away. And that helps us out, or rather, it simplifies things a lot for us and saves us a ton of time. Well, internally, all the salespeople who work with us are very happy. Specifically, they're always waiting for Darwin to send them clients. If 5 minutes go by and I haven't passed on a client, they ask me, hey, check if there's anyone. So honestly, the feedback they give me is really good, and that makes me want to use it in more areas, or maybe, try it in other business opportunities.